So we just got back from a sunny beach vacation overlooking the Gulf, only to find out that it is snowing. So in order to warm us back up, we decided to make shrimp cocktail today. Stick with us, and we're going to show you how. All right, so while on vacation, we got to experience the Gulf Coast with the kids. And vacation is not something we get to do all that often with just the four of us. So we decided, instead of packing up all of our filming gear and taking it with us on the road, we decided to take God's gift of rest and relaxation and enjoy some time on the beach together as just us as a family. But while we were there, off in the distance, we could see quite a number of boats, and some of them were actually shrimping boats. Shrimping is a huge industry inside of the Gulf Coast. We decided today to use that inspiration, come home, go to our local seafood market here, grab some fresh shrimp, and cook them up. I know a lot of people that actually don't care for shrimp. I don't like them because they're rubbery. I don't like them because they don't taste very good, or they don't taste like much at all. I don't like them because I've never had them cooked well, or I don't like them because I don't know how to cook them. We're gonna take all that trepidation, all that fear, and some of the misgivings that people have for shrimp out of the kitchen today. We're gonna show you the difference in size of shrimp. We're gonna show you how to pick some shrimp, whether fresh or frozen. And then we're gonna show you how to clean and devein them if you've bought them with the shells on. And then we're gonna show you a new cooking technique as well called poaching. Show you how to poach your shrimp perfectly every time, so that way you never have a rubber band, super springy, kind of gross and hard to chew piece of shrimp. And then if you stick with us to the end, that makes you a sous chef. You'll get a really quick and easy recipe for cocktail sauce that will blow even red lobster out of the water. That's right, I said it. So let's talk shrimp.
Shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich.
Did you know, Xander, that there are over 2,000 documented species of shrimp?
What? Nope.
Yep. But only a couple dozen are actually commercially farmed or commercially harvested that you'll see in the stores. All sorts of different colors, shapes, sizes, and whatnot. A lot of times when people say, I have had shrimp that just don't feel good to eat, it's typically because they've gotten a really large size shrimp. A lot of people think the bigger the shrimp, the better, kind of like a bigger piece of steak or a bigger piece of chicken, better it is. Not always the case. The part of the shrimp that we actually eat is the tail. 9 times out of 10, that's all you'll see in your freezer section or your fish market. But shrimp actually have pretty gnarly looking heads on them. That we will go over in a totally different episode if you can get whole shrimp. But for now, we're going to be talking about shrimp that you see in the store or your market. That's just the tail with the shell, a little bit beat, and its tail. When you're looking at shrimp in a bag, you'll see a difference in size from really, really tiny shrimp to really big jumbo shrimp. But you'll also see a number at the bottom of the bag. Sometimes it'll have a U in front of it, so like a U10 or a U20, U34. Sometimes it won't have that in front of it. Sometimes it'll just be a range of numbers, 20 to 30 or 10 to 15. Those numbers are actually talking about the size of the shrimp and how many are in or just under a pound. It'll just depend upon the actual shrimp size itself, because it's not a factory farming situation. Shrimp most of the time caught in the wild or even farm raised, there's a little bit of a variation. So it's roughly up to that number in a pound. If you get a U10, that's what we would call a hogger. You can also get really, 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 really tiny shrimp, sometimes a U100. And those you'll see a lot of times cooked in like seafood salads or in pasta dishes like a shrimp scampi. And you run the risk of overcooking that thing. And that's why a lot of times people say, I don't like them because they're like rubbery. So today we are actually going to be using U15s. So they're on the upper end of the size. It gives us a little bit of wiggle room in cooking them, but it also gives us a really good representation and close-up view of when we're going to open them up, show you how to take the shells off and devein them as well. Let's talk about deveining. Now, a lot of times people also don't like them because they're not cleaned well.
Why do you always have to deep turd these things?
When we're going to open these up, and we'll show you here in a second, there's going to be a vein in the back. It's a big, long, black line. And a lot of times in restaurants that aren't really all that great. You'll get a little bit of that muddy black line still in your shrimp. That is actually its digestive tract. We want to remove that. It won't harm you if it is there. You run the risk of getting sick if the shrimp hasn't been handled well, if it's been in and out of the temperature danger zone or not cooked properly. That's actually where you get sick. The back vein is actually just plankton and things like that that the shrimp is eating. Still really undesirable. We don't want it, and we definitely want to clean it up, and we're going to show you how to do that. But that's just a really quick overview of what that little line is. Again, we're buying ours with the shell on. After we've cleaned our shrimp, we're actually going to save our shells for some shrimp stock in a later video, because we've got a couple new ones coming out for you soon. So we're going to get in the kitchen now. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to show you how to clean shrimp. We're going to show you how to poach shrimp. And we're going to show you how to make cocktail sauce. We'll see you there. Okay, so now that we're in the kitchen, we're going to set up over our sink, because we're going to do all of our cleaning there. This will give us a chance to run cold water over things to get all of the shrimp itself cleaned up. This will also keep everything kind of contained, and it's a great space because we've got a nice big basin sink to do all the work and clean up afterwards. So Xander, can you go get the shrimp for me?
Sure.
All right, thanks, bud. Now that we got the shrimp in, again, we bought ours at a local market, so it is fresh, and they've wrapped it nice in a bag and some butcher paper. We're gonna need a landing zone for our shells, so that way we can save those like we said earlier. We're gonna need a paring knife and or a pair of kitchen shears. These two implements will work just fine to help clean, peel, and devein our shrimp. We'll also need one more bowl. We'll need a landing zone for our cleaned up shrimp. Quick tip, if you are buying frozen shrimp, which is, again, completely acceptable, I do in the restaurants that I've worked in and my current day job, we buy our shrimp in frozen. The best way to get them ready, if they're frozen, is take them out, put them in a bowl, and run cold water over them until they're submerged. Let them set for 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most, and then they'll be ready to peel and devein the same way that we're about to do here. Got a bag here, and these are U15s. And Xander, what does U15 mean?
Under 15 in a pound.
Exactly right. You can see here, again, this is the actual tail section of the shrimp itself. Usually it's got a head with antenna on it, about this long here. And the shrimp that we bought have that taken off. So there's the meat that we're gonna be looking for. See the nice shell on here. It's an exoskeleton, because what kind of creature is a shrimp, Xander?
A crustacean.
Exactly. It's got that shell on the outside. It's got a really pretty tail. Now, careful if you are peeling these yourself. That part right there is actually kind of sharp, and then it's got its little feet. So we're going to remove all that kind of stuff. So right back in here, we're going to find that vein that we were talking about. Its digestive tract is actually on the top of itself, and we're going to show you how to do it two ways, and then Xander's going to handle the rest of them. First way is with our paring knife. A little bit slippery here. Our hands are going to be wet and just a touch slimy. We want to make sure that we're gripping our knife nice and tight. So we're going to take the shrimp. We're actually going to run our knife blade side up, down the back, and away from ourselves. It's going to kind of want to find a channel in there. And here it's there. We got our first cut. We don't want to go too deep. We're only trying to get in just at the very top here, because that's actually going to open up the back to get that the vein out. So we're just going to go all the way down the back. Now, classic shrimp cocktail leaves the tail on. That's our little handle to hold and dip. So we're gonna pay homage to that as well and leave that on there. So we went all the way back to the back tail section here. Now there is still meat in there, and if you know what you're doing while you're eating it, you'll be able to get that out. Now that we've got the back opened, we're gonna peel that open here. Okay. Now this one's pretty clean already. Sometimes when the fish processor is actually taking the head off, when they do that, they'll be able to get that vein and pull it out while the head comes off as well. So some of these might not actually have the vein to deal with. So this one looks pretty clean. What do you think, Xander?
Clean.
Looks clean to
And
me.
I could see that. You see that little rub there? That's probably where the vein was pulled out.
Yep, so this little channel right in here is where the vein used to sit. So now that we've got the shells pulled back here, what we're going to do is we're going to hold onto this back tail section, so that way we can keep the tail on. Then we're going to just kind of gently take our thumb, and we're going to peel around the other side, meeting that side, pull that shell off, and there you go. You have a peeled and deveined U15 size shrimp ready to go. So we're going to save that over here. We're going to keep our shells there.
Some people also like to keep their tails on just to make it look more fancy.
Yes, shrimp cocktail is meant to look fancy. So next, same process, but we're just going to use scissors. It's a little bit safer, a little less chance of slipping and cutting yourself, but it's no big deal. This is how Xander's going to be doing this too. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just put our blade in. Again, not going too deep. We're going to go right up to the surface there, and then we're going to work our way back to that back portion there. Same thing here. Ready? Open this one up. There we go. We've got a vein. So we're going to open this up. Same thing as we did last time. You can see right there. That is the vein that we were talking about. So
Whoa.
all we have to do is we just take and gently pull, and that comes out. Throw that completely away. We're going to wash that down the sink when we're done here. That's again why we're doing this in the sink. And now we've got a cleaned and deveined shrimp here. Same difference. Just going to take and hold that so that way that doesn't come off. Peel that back. Good. Double check, looks clean. And we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, shrimp shells, saving there as well. Now, one last thing, if you want to know how to completely peel it, if you wanted to throw this into a pasta without the tail, or if you just don't want the tail because you're just eating them at home by yourself and you don't need to be fancy, totally fine. We're going to do this again. Take that, scissors, cut right down that back piece, and then because we're not keeping the tail, we can go all the way to the end. Okay. Open it back up. See a little bit of that vein in there. Just clean that up. You just peel that back. Now, inside of the tail here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's actually little pieces of meat that go into there too. Because again, the meat is the muscle. The muscle is used to push the tail so the shrimp can move around. So we want to be as gentle as possible here. Grab that meat in the back, tip of the tail. If you can gently work it out, there you go. So now you got a full shell, a full shrimp. Right there, you've got the meat from the tail itself too, so you haven't wasted a single bit of that. Thank you, Scott, for showing me how to do that. Now you know too. All right, Xander, your turn.
Yeah.
We open her all the way up. Now we missed here. That's a good point. Sometimes we miss a little bit. You see how this is open here? We missed a little bit. We went really, really shallow. No big deal. We'll just put our tip of our scissors or our knife back in, cut the back open, and then it opens it up. Now, this one is not nearly as nice a vein to be able just to pull and rip. So it's kind of dirty. We nicked the tract there. So we're just going to peel that out. And then we're going to run a little bit of cold water.
Give it a nice little cold bath.
And we're going to rinse. Now, after we get all of our shrimp taken care of, we're going to show you how to rinse them. So, Xander, man, you've gotten a couple. I'm going to move through these pretty quickly now, okay?
Okay.
Now that we've got our shrimp peeled and deveined, we're going to give them a good rinse. We want to make sure that everything's clean. We use cold water. Now, being that we're going to use the shells, I'm going to give those a rinse too, just in case there was any of that intestinal tract that got kind of wiped on those. We're going to wash down our equipment, wash down our sink. We want to make sure that we leave it better than we found it. We don't want anybody else to have to clean up our messes after us either, because we're the ones that made the mess. shells. Just gonna give them a quick rinse. And we're just gonna put these in a bag, label them up, put them in the freezer. Same goes for our shrimp as well. Want to make sure that we're gonna give them a nice, good, clean rinse. So. Now we've got our clean shrimp, peeled, deveined, ready to rock and roll, tail on, so that way we can use them as a handle later to dip in cocktail sauce. Now we need to cook these things. So we're gonna move over to our stove. We'll meet you there. All right, now that we're over at the stove, we need to get our poaching liquid on, so that way we can cook these shrimp properly. Now, poaching is very similar to blanching. If you don't know what we're talking about, there we do have a video for that on how to blanch vegetables properly. You should definitely check it out. So we're going to take seasoned water. We're going to get it up to just below a boil, and then we're going to kick it off, put our shrimp in it, and let it cook gently in that. In order to get the maximum amount of flavor in the shrimp that we can, we're going to create what's called a court bouillon, which is French for short broth. It's a really old classic technique where you pack a bunch of flavor into a cooking liquid that you then cook your meat or your vegetables in. A court bouillon typically includes aromatics such as celery, onions, or carrots, some acid. In this case, we're going to be using some lemon. Squeeze a whole lemon in, let it float as well. Pull those out later. It also includes salt, and then it includes spices or herbs. In this case, to incorporate the rest of those ingredients to make a court bouillon, we are going to give a little bit of an ode to the Gulf Coast, and we're going to use one of our favorite secret ingredients, Old Bay. Now, you'll see this a lot in seafood boils. It's good for, as it says, crabs, shrimp, which we're doing here, chicken. We also like it on potatoes too. And we're going to use a couple of tablespoons. Now, this has onion powder, it has celery powder, celery seed, a little bit of cayenne, lots and lots of salt as well. We're also going to add a couple of bay leaves that we've had in our fridge. We're going to kick this on. Now, because we've got so many shrimp and we've got such a large amount of liquid, we don't want to over season it with our Old Bay. We're going to do a couple of tablespoons of salt in there as well. With blanching, with poaching, with boiling, anytime you're cooking with that much water, you want that water to taste like the ocean. Now, in this case, these shrimp came out of an ocean. Xander, you got to taste that ocean, didn't you?
Yep.
How did that taste?
Disgusting.
It tasted disgusting, but how salty was it?
It was really salty.
Really, really salty. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to put our shrimp in, and we're going to let them cook for anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. Now, this cooking time is a rough estimate based on how many shrimp you're cooking, how big your pot is, and how big your shrimp are too. This is going to be up to you and your judgment. We want the shrimp to cook completely through, so the meat will turn from this opaque color here, kind of a little bit translucent. This will turn completely white. These colors here will start to turn red and pink as shrimp does, and it'll go from loosey-goosey to start to tighten up like this. Now, we are looking for a gentle C shape, like this. That's not a C, is it? That's backwards. You know that you've overcooked your shrimp if it does this. If it turns into a circle or an O. That's an O crud. I've overdone it. We're going to wait for this court bouillon to come up to its simmer, and then we're going to add our shrimp. All right, you can start to see that we're getting close to a simmer here. Bubbles are forming around the edge. You'll see some of the spices moving around in there inside of the current. Now, if you are crunched for time or a little bit more of a stickler about your order here for your mise en place, while you are peeling and deveining your shrimp in the background, you can have this court bouillon on the stove coming up to its simmer. So as soon as you're done cleaning your shrimp, you can go right into the pot and it'll be ready to go. It'll save you a couple of minutes instead of standing here waiting like a bunch of ding-dongs like we just did for this video. So as this comes up, we're going to be prepared with a spider or a strainer, something that we can use to scoop the shrimp out when they are done. Once the shrimp hits the water, that heat has been turned off, we're going to move over and grab a bowl full of ice water, so that way we can shock the shrimp when it comes out. Again, if you don't know what we're speaking about here, if we're using language that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, we have a video explaining all of this. under how to blanch your vegetables properly. You can see everything kind of moving around. So we're going to kick our liquid off, and we're going to gently pour our shrimp in, making sure that we're not going to splash ourselves because that'll hurt. You'll start to see almost immediately that the gray and the darker parts of the shrimp are going to start to turn red and pink in color. You'll also see the skin again starting to go from opaque gray to white. That's how you know it's cooking. Give this a couple stirs just to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. So as these are cooking, you'll see here, this one here, and it started to turn red, but you can still kind of see how it's gray and translucent right down that back channel there. That still has some time to go. So again, anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes depending upon your liquid and the size of your shrimp. We've got a nice clean bowl of ice water. Now we've got a shrimp that is actually fully cooked. You can see it's a gentle C shape here. There's no more translucence at all. It's clean, it's turned pink. If we overcooked it, that thing would be balled up and rubbery, bouncy, and not fun. This is a gentle C shape, so we're ready to go. We're gonna take our spider, pick up our shrimp, and we're gonna move them over to our ice bath. Once they're in the ice bath, we're gonna let them sit for just a couple minutes, cool completely on the inside, and then we'll drain them, and then they're ready to eat. So here, make sure that we get the shrimp all under, so that they start to cool down. And right there, you have a perfectly poached shrimp. All right, so for the shoe chefs that stuck around to the end, we really appreciate you. And this is why we do this. Cocktail sauce. It includes just a couple of ingredients. You can make it as simple as with 2. We're gonna make ours with 5 ingredients to make ours just a little bit more zippy. Main ingredient in cocktail sauce is ketchup. We use about a half a cup. If you're looking for the recipe, it's gonna be down in the description. Half a cup, 3/4 of a cup, somewhere in there. We're using Heinz because it's the best ketchup. And if Heinz wants to sponsor us, we would love that too. The thing that brings the bite to your cocktail sauce is horseradish. Horseradish is a root. It is in the radish family, and it brings a lot of spice, but not in the way that a pepper does. It brings spice in the back of your nose. There's compounds in horseradish. This is prepared with a little bit of vinegar, salt, and sugar. The compounds in the horseradish itself react inside of your nostrils, and it causes some irritation. That's where that spice comes from. I particularly love that, so we're going to use a couple of tablespoons here. The same kind of thing that you get with wasabi. If you don't like that, totally fine. You can omit 1 of the 2 tablespoons here. If you like a little bit more, go for it. Add a bunch. I'm going to use a couple of dashes of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to use a little bit of salt because everything we do in the kitchen needs salt. Being this is made with ketchup, it's got a lot of sugar in it, so we need to balance that out with some salt. And then the acid is going to come in from our lemon. Give that a squeeze. Again, we're just ripping through this really quickly. If you want a fully measured recipe, drop down in the description and it'll be there for you. Now, you can even zest this up a little bit more if you want to add your favorite hot sauce to it, whether it's Frank's or Cholula. But if you're down south, you'll find a lot of Crystal hot sauce using different chili. We're gonna leave the heat out of this because we got little ones eating it today. We're gonna let the horseradish do all the work for us in this case. And that is cocktail sauce right there. Ketchup and horseradish mainly, with the addition of a little bit of Worcestershire, some lemon juice, some salt for balance. That is the most classic pairing with our poached shrimp that we have from earlier. Thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for dropping us comments. Thanks for likes. Thanks for subscribes. We love you all, and we hope that this brought a little bit of warmth to wherever you are in the world, whether you're on the Gulf Coast or you're back in a state that has some fresh snow landing on it. Don't forget, this is perfect for holidays, so now you don't have to buy pre-frozen, pre-done shrimp cocktail. You can do it yourself and surprise your family. Thanks for sticking around. We love and appreciate you guys. Till the next one, we'll see ya.
Bye.